Here we go. We are live. Hello, Hannah.
Hello, Jackie.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. We've got Mr. Mackenzie here. This is my little isolation partner, and
so
he's just
cute.
really excited to be here and say hi to everyone and to hang out.
Oh, for those of you who've tuned in, this is live. I'm with Hannah here from the Toronto Humane Society, one of our absolutely favorite places to support a really great charitable cause in the heart of our city in Toronto. And today we're not at the Humane Society. We've got to be respectful of COVID guidelines that have been set out by our province and by our city. And so you are at your home and I am in my office with nobody else here near me, keeping
Better animals.
Yeah, my five are at home.
Yeah.
And every time I see another dog, I'm like, oh, that's cuter than one of mine. I should look. What kind of dog is he? He's so
I should get another one.
Tell us about him first. Tell me about the dog. Is this your dog?
Yeah, so this is Mackenzie. So Mackie is a Shih Tzu Poodle mix. He turned in April. He turned 5, I think, which is crazy because he's just such a little puppy through and through. But he has separation anxiety, so he can't stay with me when I'm regularly at the shelter. And so what's been really nice about this quarantine is he's able to be with me for it, and we're able to hang out and have old times together. So he's been enjoying it a lot.
Tell the truth, is he getting way more walks than he's used to, like my crew?
So many more. Like I think he's probably lost, a couple pounds since this quarantine because I mean, there's not much else to do but go out and just walk around with your pooches.
I have one of my dogs who's rediscovered her waistline.
Oh, yeah.
She's one of my island dogs, and she's starting to look very svelte and sexy. I was like, wow.
Oh, okay.
Walking them, my sister, the kids, like the dogs are getting like 4 walks a day. I'm very happy to say.
Yeah, there's silver lining in a lot of this, right? Like the animals are getting a lot more attention and love. And the one thing too is that as we're seeing now phase 1 coming into fruition, that, adjusting back into your routine with your animal is going to be something that'll be helpful, just so that they're not totally beside themselves. And, now that you're back into routine and work, they're not kind of freaking out. So it's important to make sure that you start to acclimatize them back to that schedule.
I think that's a good point. And I think what we've learned in our household is we ordinarily, like, they've got free run of the backyard, but they don't get the morning walk. So I've said to the kids, when you go back to school, I don't care if it's September or whatever, it could be June. I doubt it's June, but whenever it is, these kids got to get up and help support me to get them out, because you can't walk 5 dogs on one leader and one pack in my household. But yeah, it really, like, they're loving it. They're getting out, they're exploring, they're becoming a little bit more social and better behaved. One of my kids is running 5K a day with the dogs. And I'm like, I can't even walk, half. I can't even run half of that. But the dogs come back so happy. They sleep soundly. But I can tell that they're like, I left the house and they're in a world of pain. They're like, you go now, Mom. We're good here. How is the Humane Society doing? You're getting a little pixelated on me. It's okay. We expect to have some kind of issues with Wi-Fi on these, interviews with business owners or local causes. So I'm going to wait for you to clear up, Hannah, and just see. Oh, there you go. We see you again. Tell me, how are things at the Humane Society? Tell me, when were you there last? How many animals are there? What's the state of the union there? And as in live calls, guys, this kind of stuff happens. It tends to happen. We go in and we go out. We're just waiting for Hannah to rejoin. She's gone a little dark here. She's still on the stream.
Sorry, Jackie, you cut out for a sec there. I'm having a...
No problem.
I think I got you now. Can you hear me okay, Jackie?
Hey, yeah.
Sorry about that. My internet is so bad.
That's okay.
Yeah.
This COVID's taught all of us some patience.
It has. And how to use technology. I am just absolutely the worst at it.
So tell me, how's it going? When was the last time you were at the society down at River? What is it like? Who's there? Give me the lowdown. Give the public the lowdown.
Yeah, well, I think it's something people want to know, right? I mean, when this whole thing happened, a huge question was what's going to happen with the animals? Where are they going to go? Who's going to care for them? I was last at the shelter last week, and it's wild. I mean, the halls are empty. I checked this morning, Jackie, and we've got, I'll just pull it up here. We have 21 animals as of this morning in shelter. That's it. And we
Wow.
214 in foster homes. So it's just been
Wow.
unreal to see the support on not just the front of foster, but just, public reaching out, wanting to help, wanting to find ways to support animals during this time, whether that's through adoption or fostering or just donating monetarily or with supplies. So it's been amazing. Our food bank, like you mentioned, we are operating our food bank. So those who are facing temporary hardships or who might also, just be strapped for a meal during these trying times, they're also being serviced right now through our public food bank. And we're just trekking along, just trying to make sure that all the animals are loved and cared for, which they're getting absolutely through and through, world class in treatment and enrichment and all that good stuff. So it's been a wild ride for sure.
Let me ask you, the 11 animals that are in shelter, tell me who's in shelter.
Sure.
So is it critical care animals, or tell me a little bit about that. My soft part. I got to hear this.
Yeah. So there's 21 that are in shelter
21.
right now. Yes. Now I don't know exactly who those 21 are, to be totally honest with you. Some of them are our longer stay animals. So the animals who we've had conversations about in the past who are, might have some behavior issues, medical issues. The animals like our turtles, for example. So a bulk of those make up the special species department for sure. Okay. Because we do have, of course, many turtles, guinea pigs, hamsters, and all that stuff. So there's animals in the shelter, but some of them are just there only for a few days. So, for example, right now we're hosting online meet and greets and online interviews. And
Yay!
so we're still able to place animals in homes on a remote basis. So one way that we're able to do that, give me 2 secs, Jackie.
Yeah, do it.
Let my pooch out or else he'll bark the rest of this meeting.
No problem.
Sorry. So where was I? So we've got interviews happening and meet and greets happening. So sometimes the animals are only in shelter for a few days, whether that's overnight or just while they're waiting to actually go into their permanent forever homes. So it's been a lot of adjustments and, working with the situation, adapting to it just to find the best way to still support our animals during this time.
Now, you said 21, right? Is that what we said? 21?
Yeah.
So are any of them, I have to ask, are they dogs or cats?
Yes, I'll break it down right for you. So we've got today, as of this morning, May 13th, we have 13 dogs. 13 dogs and, oh my goodness. We've got six dogs.
6 dogs.
6 cats, and 9 special species. So our special species do make up the bulk of the animals that we have in our shelter because they, of course, are harder to place than our other animals.
Okay. I wonder if my favorite bonded pair are still there. And if they are, I'm making a plug for them now. You can let us know. But if that bonded pair is there when we go to post this, I want to tell people to look at them. It's a beautiful Doberman and a mini Doberman bonded pair, rambunctious, melt my heart every time. If I didn't have the crew at my house that I did, they're the 2 that would be in my house without a doubt. How are you guys managing? How are volunteers managing? How's the sort of tone there? Is it panicked? Is it managed? Is it somber? Obviously, like every time I'm there, it's bustling. It's really always super busy. People are always in movement and tons of volunteers doting on these beautiful animals. So how's it been? How's the mood?
Yeah, I think right now it's unique times. So the mood though is quite inspiring, I would say. I think that right now a sentiment that we're getting, I was talking with one of our animal care workers who said, they're getting to meet people who they wouldn't regularly work with on a day in and day out basis. So members of the clinic, they're able to at a distance kind of get closer with because the team is much smaller in the building. So the sentiment is quite inspiring. You know, a lot of people are finding the silver lining in this. They're able to, you know, see the positives in a pretty grim situation. Another thing that's been really, really nice to see is, again, the public support. So one way that the public is helping is by, there's a group and a company who's been donating lunches on Fridays to the frontline workers at the shelter. So that's been amazing, just to have, you know, someone, a stranger more or less, to these frontline workers stepping up and providing them food on a weekly basis. They're also donating dog food as well to the animals. So it's been good. We're getting through it, and I'm personally really excited to go back to the shelter and just interact with the babies again. As you know, I just want to smooch them and love them and get back to it. So
the animals that are in foster care. So as soon as COVID broke, I think it was out of New York or Miami, somewhere, shelters were saying like the foster rates went absolutely through the roof.
Right.
200 and some. That is not a normal rate of animals in foster, is it, on your side?
So sometimes it is, actually. So there's sometimes where we do have, you know, upwards of 200 animals in one given time, you know, in foster homes. Sometimes it's slower. It really depends on how many animals we have, what needs that they need met, whether a foster home will best suit them or not. So, but with that said, the speed in which we were able to place these animals into foster homes, I think, is unique. So being able to, you know, adopt or place animals into foster homes, we pretty much doubled our placements on a daily basis.
Wow.
So go two to three a day to 5 to 6 a day. The 2 weeks post closure, that was something that was really incredible. So, you know, lesser animals, fewer animals will affect how many are adopted. Our foster numbers, you know, reflect that we obviously needed to get animals outside of the shelter as quick as possible. And so that was really, really cool to see the public stepping up on that front.
Now, on a personal level, and I know it's not possible for everyone fostering, I pray for failure. I like it when the foster failures have very high rates, but I know that, you know, the moment a family who's fostering fails and takes that animal on a permanent basis, it ties up their hands later to be able to foster again. So it's not great for the Humane Society, but I still secretly pray for that all the time when I see people.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, some animals, like we've had some animals who are foster failures and then they get along with other animals. So even if you do foster fail, more or less, I say foster win, because, you know, you're getting the love of your life. But when you do have that situation, if you do end up adopting, there are some times where that animal gets along with new fosters. So if you do foster fail or win, you still are not closing a door to fostering in the future. You might just have some more adjustments to make depending on how that animal gets along with other animals.
Amazing. I fully agree with you, right? We foster failed at like number 3, and then we somehow ballooned to 6, and then we were like, we just can't do this. We're not cut out for this. But you know, you can be, if the animal, you're right, if the animal is easygoing, or you have great management skills and you're a strong alpha in your household and you can manage multiples. You have to be careful with kids around and other sort of risk factors in your home, and obviously your yard and the space and commitment that you can give these beautiful animals. But I think it's a brilliant thing. I think that it's wonderful that the shelter is sitting near empty. The worrisome part, and I guess the question is, are you guys chatting about this? Something that, you know, turns my tummy right now and really makes me sweat a bit is, once we get through this, with people losing jobs and, you know, unemployment rates rising, what's going to happen with, you know, families turning in animals, a beloved pet that they just simply can't care for financially? Like, what can you give someone some tips? Like, if someone is sitting at home, like, the last thing I want to see is someone give up their animal at home or their family member because they just can't make ends meet. The food bank is there. Are there any other tips or strategies that you can offer up, or what you can, you know, is there any comfort?
That's such a good question, Jackie. And I think that, you know, with everything going on in this world right now, a lot of people were in search of companionship and having an animal, an isolation partner. But again, there is that acknowledgement that this will come to an end. And how does an animal fit into your life when that does happen? One thing that we are really excited to have just launched yesterday, actually, is our pet support network. So it addresses exactly what you're speaking of, which is a database that lives on our website, and it's interactive. So if you are facing, you're not able to afford dog food or cat food, you can go onto our website, you can go through this database, answer the questions. They're catered to you to best suit material to fit what is your lifestyle and what you need. And then we'll be able to provide you with resources. So whether that be you can't feed your animal, you don't have cat or dog food, or you need to move and you need temporary housing or boarding. If you're just uncertain on how to deal with a certain behavior, or you don't have it in your schedule to walk your dog, there are so many services and resources on this database. So on our website, it's just under what we do, Pet Support Network, and you just add your information in, and then you're off to the races. So it's a great way to also address a very common theme that happens often when people are surrendering an animal, which is that, you fill out an intake form and then the animal's either accepted or denied. Whereas this looks at it in a holistic sense. This looks at it and says, maybe there's something else that we can offer that'll prevent that animal from ending up in the shelter, to protect that human animal bond, because it's so important to keep and maintain that relationship, because it's way easier to preserve an already existing bond than it is to start a new one, which would happen in our shelter. Regaining trust of that animal, feeding the animal, training, getting them comfortable with the doctor. An animal, although very trusting, you do have to put a bit of work in to get to that point. So if we can just say, here's a meal, if that's going to keep the animal in your home, then that's what we're aiming to do.
Okay, Hannah, I didn't think we'd go there today, but I'm going to go there. We need to kick off, and I don't know if there's a way to do it online, but we're going to kick it off with a fundraiser. So I need to work with you or whoever at the Toronto Humane Society to kick off a fundraiser. Cool. And I'll start it today.
Amazing.
I'll donate $2,500.
Oh my gosh.
Let it going. But I want to see my partners that I refer business to, everybody in my network, clients, anybody, whether it's $5, $10, $20, something. If you're working and you can donate, and if you're an animal lover, even more important. We rarely ask for anything, but today I'm going to ask my community, I'm going to ask people who are watching this to make a small monetary donation, so that, and I'll kick it off. I'll start it off. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'll start off with $2,500, and I want the support of my friends and family, loved ones, clients, vendors, everyone, because I get behind causes I believe in. You guys are so near and dear to me. And I don't think $500 is going to start anything off right. So I'm going to put $2,500 where my mouth is. You just got to lead me through how we can create it, so we can put that in the link, so we can get things going online, and we can track it and we can measure it and we can see that little indicator grow. But I am all for keeping animals in the homes that they love, where it's safe, where people adore them. And I think that there's all sorts of other stuff that comes out. Listen, I fostered a dog many years ago. And my husband, after 3 weeks, said, so what's going on with the applicant? And the truth was, the moment he said that, I was like, busted. I hadn't put out information about him. And then as soon as I started to look for a great home for him, the applicants didn't meet my criteria. I was being really picky. Excuse me. I spent a lot of money to bring him here from the islands. He wasn't perfectly healthy when he came. So I was extremely attached to his outcome, as I am with all animals. And he ended up foster failing or winning in my home. But the amount of money that goes into, if you've had an animal there, you've vetted them, you've had that investment. It's not just the money that goes into it, but that gutting feeling the moment he called me out and said, so are we ready to find him a home? I was like the day before, it took about 3 weeks or a month for him to just actually even acknowledge me in the home, to put his head on my lap. And I was like, he's not going anywhere. We're gonna make this work, man. And that wasn't the deal we had when we sponsored him to get out of the islands. But I knew when he had arrived, I just couldn't imagine. And he was only with me for a month when this happened, or 3 weeks. I can't imagine having an animal that you love and adore in your home, and having to decide whether you have to put food on the table for your kids or your family, or, somebody recently told me that they'd entrusted someone to watch their dog. And when she checked in on the dog, she realized they were all skin and bones. I don't want that to happen to anybody. And so this specifically for me is to help that type of a cause. And if we can sort of direct that in your capable hands, in your Toronto Humane Society's capable hands, let's get this going. Let's raise some funds. and let's help people who have great homes, who are just going through some hardship right now, get the best strategies and techniques to be able to keep that animal there, because I'm all with you. I can't imagine the gutting feeling of giving up your loved one, or the stress that that poor animal, however well adjusted, the animals look for their loved ones. They remember when the lady who'd raised one of these pups had come to my house years later. My dog loses his mind. He squeals with excitement. They recognize the people who take care of them. They remember their scent, and they're even more loyal. Like, I remember inviting her over for dinner, and my dog left my lap and wouldn't leave her side. I was like, that in the true form is the affection of a loyal and true animal, whether it's a cat or a dog. I have more experience with dogs, but so let's do that. That's not what this is about here today, but will you help me get this going?
I will be by your side through this whole thing, Jacquie. Thank you so much. The animals can't, express their appreciation aside from smooching us and loving us, but
that's enough.
Exactly. But I'll speak for them in saying that will go such a long way. You talk about being in a position where you might be faced with, can I support my animal? Like, do I have a meal to give my animal? And I think what's really, really valuable with monetary donations is that if that is a priority need, then our shelter will be able to provide them with that, thus keeping them out of the shelter. And so that's our goal. It's the same goal and mission as yours, is just to protect the human-animal bond and relationship, to see it flourish, to find ways to support it, to find ways to, add to the love, to the passion, to be able to make sure that that is a forever and permanent home. So, we will absolutely get this kickstarted. Another thing too, for anyone who's listening, is you can host your own online fundraising events as well on behalf of Toronto Humane Society. So that is something that there's an option for anybody to participate in as well. So that's something that you can do today if you're interested, to be able to support animals who are in need in our shelter and community.
And I'm going to say on that topic, like, we've gone through, I think, 3 or 4 birthdays in our household, or
I think we're frozen here.
Oh, you're a little blurry, but I can see you. So maybe we'll give you a minute. Can you hear me? Oh, there. I think my Wi-Fi is good here, so I'm going to continue, Hannah, and you can jump in. The one thing I'm going to say is, for those of us, we've celebrated, I think, 4 birthdays. Oh, and we've dropped Hannah. She'll probably come right back in here, guys. The one thing I'm going to say to those of you watching, we've celebrated 4 or 5 birthdays between grandparents and kids in our household since COVID first started, and that's a lot of birthdays. We have a lot of spring birthdays. The one thing that we've learned throughout all of this is we don't really have a need for a whole heck of a lot. It's really taught us that a dinner dropped off at the doorstep. Hannah, I'm just talking about how we've been through birthdays in our household. We've had grandma's birthday, grandpa's birthday. We've had one of my kids' birthdays, and we've had a few other people. One of my nieces as well. I think we're up to 4 birthdays. And what I'm trying to say to the people watching this is, truth be told, it is a real, I wish I had a birthday, but I had Mother's Day. It was a real test of what we actually need and don't need. We don't need for really much. I need my kids to be healthy. I want my family to be a happy home. I want my animals taken care of. Basic. We didn't do lavish things. We did, a dinner on the doorstep for my in-laws for their birthday, or a birthday cake with a candle in it and a drive-by greeting. Little things. And for me, I think during this time, especially for the people that are working and have the means to give, let's give, let's support those, community businesses, and especially organizations who are out there, like 200 some animals. That's a lot on the Toronto Humane Society plate. And I know you guys can do more than that, but I think maybe think about, for birthdays for loved ones, let's find other ways. I don't know what online shopping is like. In our household, it's basically minimized to essentials, from Amazon, but we're not doing things that are sort of crazy high on the disposable income list. We're not spending like crazy except on groceries. So this is an opportunity for me to give back, but also for us to get creative around birthdays and celebrations for other people. That if you have a charity of choice, and for me, I almost always pick the Toronto Humane Society and Sick Kids. Let's put our money where our mouth is, and let's really take care of those people, because it's so easy without being in shelter environment and seeing what's going on there. But there are seriously some important concerns here. And so let's rise to the occasion, and let's ask for those types of gifts, like the fundraising that you can kick off for yourself. I wish I actually thought about that before my daughter's birthday, because we were like, what does she need? Really, she doesn't need for much. She can't go anywhere to buy anything, so to speak. So something like that makes perfect sense, and we will put it into action. And we're probably going to be in a new normal right up until the end of the year. I can't see things lifting and going back to normal. We've seen the CNE close. We've seen Pride shut down. We've seen schools potentially, will know from the announcement next week, being shut down. So, for those of you who are working, let's get creative. What we've been doing is we've been hosting a happy hour every Tuesday with our clients. And it's been so much fun to see people get dressed up and have a laugh and share a cocktail. But in the same right, I think it's super important. Tell me what's important, the most important thing right now that people don't know that's going on sort of behind closed doors. What do you guys need help with, or what messaging is it important that you want to get out there to the public? Because we're going to have eyes on this. What is so important that you want to convey, Hannah?
That's a great question. I think that there's lots of ways that people can help right now. People aren't able to volunteer the way that they did before with social distancing and everything. So there's lots of creative things you can do online, like you mentioned, starting your own fundraising page, just having, again, funds generated on behalf of Toronto Humane Society. And of course, supplies is always welcome too. So we are taking in supplies and donations in a more regulated way. So they're left outside our shelter door to be disinfected and handled. So right now, what we could use is cat food. I know that our food bank has been in need of some cat food for sure. And as we are getting into the warmer seasons, with kitten season slowly but gradually starting to come into fruition, it's important that we have enough stock for not just our own animals, but also the animals in the community. So the colony caretakers, I know, like Jacquie, you feed the cats out back your office. So food that you can support the community cats as well will be really, really key right now. And toys, Kong toys are great because they're pretty indestructible. Treats, high value, medium, and low, as well as dog food. We could also use sheets and pillowcases. I'm trying to think.
Still collecting that stuff? Are you guys still collecting sheets, towels, and things like that?
Yes, we are. So we will, again, handle it in a very safe way. So there's precautions and protocols put in place around receiving donations. But for a public member, all they have to do is just leave it outside of our shelter doors, and our security will collect it. For those who are interested in donating, if you can just be mindful to donate during our operating hours so that we make sure someone is there to receive it and it doesn't go in the hands of somebody else, that would be ideal as well.
Operating hours are right now?
Operating hours right now, as far as I am aware, but they change, they can change quickly, is 10 to 6 on weekdays right now.
Okay. So they can leave them right at 11 River Street, right in front. And do we want bags of food that are unopened? Are you okay with dry cat food or dog food that's, if someone's had an animal that's passed away at home, what are the rules? Like, is that a concern with things being tampered with, or is it okay? How does that work?
For sure. So the closed or sealed bags are better just because then we might actually be able to use, if it's a veterinary food, we might be able to use it on one of our animals who are on that diet, say urinary SO or any type of veterinary recommended diet. But if they're open, as long as they're in the original packaging again, so we can see the expiry date as well as the ingredients, then we would be good to go.
Okay. So I'm going to say important. I'm going to put, not that blankets and towels and all of that good stuff and Kongs aren't important. I'm going to say probably food, super high priority. Right. Monetary donations, super high priority, because then you guys can buy the stuff wholesale and bulk and actually take care of the animals and the foster families. Because when people are fostering, Hannah, you guys provide the necessary tools or equipment in order for them to be successful, correct?
Exactly.
So food is provided?
Yes. So the 200 animals that are in foster homes are still Toronto Humane Society animals. So meaning we still care for them medically. Their food, their supplies, everything that they need is totally paid for by us. And then after that, once they land themselves into their adoptive home, that's when the new family would take on the responsibility of them.
Amazing. And two last important things I want to say. Number one, I've been on a lot of walks and I'm still seeing unaltered animals.
Okay.
Get your animals spayed and neutered. Right? Can we say that over and over and over again so that we can stop this, cycle? of
Yeah,
unwanted animals, please?
I'm not sure right now. I'm trying to. It's a little bit tough to get an appointment right now, actually, to spay and neuter your animal. But as a general rule, COVID aside, it's absolutely super important to spay and neuter your animal. I mean, as we know, there's medical research to support that it's healthier for the animal, and it's just also to help reduce repopulation. So, for example, when kitten season hits, if we have a number of spayed community cats, that's going to decrease the amount of kittens that we're going to see year by year.
Yeah, and in the colonies outside, sometimes it's tough to control, but there's some amazing volunteers that take care of the colonies across the city. But yes, we want to keep the unwanted pet population down. And yes, for a variety of health reasons and sometimes aggression reasons, we want to make sure that the animals are fixed, neutered, etc. The other thing is vaccinations. Do you know if, I know my vet is open and they're really not only on an emergency basis, but if there's something that's really critical or important, like it is tick season, I will tell you all, my animals have brought in ticks on their back, and those things can be dangerous if they are carrying Lyme disease. So does the Toronto Humane Society have a means for that? I don't even know. Is there a clinic of sorts that will reopen sometime down the road?
Yes. So we are absolutely going to reopen our public service clinic. That's for veterinary vaccinations, spay, neuter, deworming, as well as heartworm preventative. So absolutely, when we do reopen down the line, if you are looking for flea, tick, heartworm prevention, vaccinations, spaying and neutering, then you can definitely book an appointment with Toronto Humane Society. We've also started just recently doing dental as well. So you can actually go in to get a consult and actually have extractions done. As we know, dental can cost thousands of dollars and it's super expensive. So another unique technique that we've wanted to do to help animals stay in their homes is if somebody is looking to get their animal's teeth fixed, but they can't afford it and they're faced with that question, do I surrender my animal or get my animal's teeth fixed? We provide them with a reduced fee if they're on low income or subsidized. So it's a great happy medium to be able to, again, find a way to provide them with a service or something that might actually keep them in that home, thus keeping them out of the shelter.
Amazing. Amazing. And my other tip is put your dogs on a leash when you're out for a walk, right?
Yes, especially in this environment, it should be rule of thumb, but because we are social distancing and practicing it with our animals, it's important that you're respecting that there are other animals in the community. So leash your dog, don't let them say hi to other dogs when you're out for walks, and stay safe.
Yes, but get out, walk them. They're waiting. They're waiting for their walk. So get out, enjoy. Let's hope that we have some good weather. Let's hope that COVID will soon be behind us, Hannah. And for the animals that are still in your care.
I was gonna just say.
Oh, tell me, you're a little garbled.
Yes.
Were you hoping for better weather? Is that what you were going to say?
I was gonna say I normally when I'm doing these I'll say let's go or if I'm talking about walking I'll just say a W, but my animals aren't in here, so I can say walk comfortably without a head poking up and saying hey, let's go out.
We spell it out at our house. We absolutely spell it out. We can't even. Yeah. Is anyone going to take them for a WALK? Yeah, that's my house. And one last thing, adopt, don't adopt, guys. For those of you, tisk, some of you, and I hate to do this because I'm probably going to take heat on here, but you know what? Bring it. For those of us who are still going and getting animals from puppy mills or breeders, when there are animals sitting at the Toronto Humane Society, I don't want to say shame on you, but I want to just remind you that there are already amazing animals. And some of the most wonderful pets we've had are ones that have been adopted. 4 of my 5 rather now, we've lost one, somebody passed away, was actually one was from a breeder before I knew better years ago. But I look at the ones that came that were adopted or picked up off the streets in the islands, and those dogs just have a different thing about them, something so unique and special, and you can just see the gratitude in them. I'm not saying that an animal from a breeder, may have different behavioral issues or not. I don't want to get into that, but I want to say that there is a thankfulness that comes with an animal that's been adopted. And the reality is, if we have animals sitting in shelter, then let's do the responsible thing. Let's go and see who's there. Let's give another family a chance, and let's try to reduce these numbers to zero, because we don't know what things are going to look like in a month or in 6 months, right? Whether there'll be more surrenders. I mean, it is the thing at Humane Society. It is a revolving door, right? It's hard to sort of flatten that curve, so to speak, in your world of surrenders. It's kind of an all the time kind of thing, isn't it?
Well, we actually, interesting enough, I just got the report back, is we actually have 49% of the animals that we get are from our transfer program. So about half would be surrenders, which we're chatting about. The other half would be from other sending shelters. So shelters in the States, shelters across Ontario, and other provinces. So we're really, we're helping animals in our community, but the reach is so wide. The reach is very expanded, because we see that there's need that exists outside of our shelter, but even further outside of our community in our city of Toronto. So it's really important for us to be able to, have relief efforts everywhere else in the world as well, because there are tons of dogs that exist elsewhere. I mean, your babies from the islands, we brought some pot cakes back one year, I think it was last year, and that was unique to see, because there's so many dogs and animals who are out there who are in need that we don't even see. We aren't even that aware of. Some of us here in Toronto, but there is need that exists everywhere.
Amazing. All right. Thank you for your time. I hope to be able to chat with you again next week. Sorry for all the Wi-Fi troubles that we've been having. It sort of goes with the time and the territory. C'est la vie now. Let's kick off the fundraising. We'll connect offline and get it going. But Hannah, thank you for your dedication to these animals. Thank you for everything the Toronto Humane Society is doing. And please just pass on our gratitude to all of the shelter volunteers, because that is so important, so critical, and all of the staff there. Thank you for everything you guys are doing. And I hope to be able to see you in shelter once we're through everything.
I was just going to say that I can't wait to reunite and hug some animals with you when this is all over.
You got it. You got it. Thank you so much, lovely lady. Have a great day.
All right. Be well and stay safe, everyone.
You too. You too. Bye.